Look at me go on the cultural zeitgeist for one, talking about something that's actually relevant. So, on the 1 year anniversary of Inside, Bo Burnham released a 1 hour cut of all of the outtakes from Inside. And I really liked the original. You know, I have an essay about it. I will be referring to that essay during this video, so go watch that one. Then come and watch this one. Also, I assume that you've seen both Inside and the outtakes. I guess posting something on the 1 year anniversary of Inside was a good idea in theory until I was outshone by, you know, the man himself. Whoopsie. Oh well. But while Inside's outtakes are kind of just bonus features, they're actually really interesting, and the way that Bo plays with the medium of YouTube videos, I think is really cool in the special. It feels a lot less like an outtakes and more of like a retrospective, if that makes sense. I apologize if this video is a little bit all over the place. I haven't scripted this one. This is just kind of off the cuff. I just watched the outtakes and I just really wanted to talk about it. So that's that. As I said in my other essay, what makes Inside so special is the way in which Bo plays with the image itself. What makes it stand apart from other Netflix specials is the way in which it plays with the image. Not just in terms of the way in which it structures itself in terms of framing, but also the way in which it overlaps images in themselves. It feels as if it's being edited by a YouTuber, someone who has a more interesting and nuanced look at the way in which digital technology can enhance editing techniques. In this way, it's different to typical stand-up specials at the time as well. A typical 3-angle setup is now a more intricate 360-degree set. It's as if Bo is filming himself on a theater performance set, a full 360 camera, ways to interact with an environment, and we see, as the special and the outtakes progress, more and more elements being brought in until it starts to flood the screen. It's very visually interesting. It's also great to see more of this behind the scenes that Bo talks about, especially in Inside itself. I spoke about the behind the scenes shots showing that difference between the artists and the creator, and what is shown and what isn't, and I think the outtakes do another really good job of showing that process by showing all these different takes of Bo doing the same thing over and over again, each one cutting out until he has the final one. It's this type of repetition that we don't see in the final special. It's like watching a bonus features or a director's commentary, but in the style of the special itself. It's Bo showing us further behind the curtain to show his process, the process that is grueling. He does multiple takes of the same thing and it starts to drive us and him crazy if we just watch the same thing over and over again. But within the outtakes themselves, there are full songs written and performed that just didn't make it into the final cut. In this case, they aren't bloopers per se, they're just cut content. The Drake parody, where he talks about, you know, going and eating dumplings with someone, that's hilarious. And it's something that would definitely fit within the special itself, but it suits better inside of the outtakes themselves. His song about Joe Biden would have politicized the special, even though the special itself is already highly political. But what makes Inside so special, and also what made it, you know, reach such a wide audience, is the way in which it doesn't necessarily refer to the COVID-19 pandemic or anything really going on. It just refers to an event that is happening that's keeping you inside. The Joe Biden song would have almost certainly politicized it in a way that would have immediately drawn more criticism for the way in which it tackles a very specific topic in an otherwise very vague special. But I think the best thing that the special does is the way it plays with YouTube itself. I said in the other essay about how I don't think that Inside is a Netflix special, it's just a YouTube video that has been produced on Netflix. And again, I want to say that I don't mean that dismissively. YouTube has become a hub for incredible content. You look at the stuff some YouTubers are able to create, and you wonder how it doesn't compete with stuff like Netflix. I think that YouTube has just as much quality content on it than Netflix or any other of the streaming platforms. But where Inside Outtakes is special is the way in which Bo plays with the form of YouTube itself. He has unskippable ads, suggested videos, and little lower banner ads that show up during the outtakes that add this extra level of meta-ness to the special that wouldn't have worked on Netflix. I don't know how much of this is Bo wanting to do that in the original special itself, or just more for the outtakes. You can see at the end of the outtakes a little thing that says YouTube Inside. Whether or not this entire special was originally created to be made for YouTube, and only after Bo started talking to people was that then produced for Netflix, I don't know. But the lines are already blurred. It doesn't matter where it's produced or where it's shown. At the end of the day, the difference between outtakes and Netflix isn't necessarily on where you can watch it. Formally, they're exactly the same, and both take full advantage of the mediums in which they're released in. The YouTube audience knows these ads, knows these pop-ups, these suggested videos. These are things that a YouTube-savvy audience member is already accustomed to. So by seeing them in the outtakes in this self-referential way, Bo is able to kind of bring us all into this aspect of internet consumerism that was not present in the Netflix special. What's interesting is that in the outtakes, Bo has a lot more footage of him talking about the construction of the special itself. There are monologues where he talks about how he wants to make the ending, and he struggles to make the ending, and he shows us multiple endings that would have probably made it into the final cut. But what's interesting in this sense is that that isn't dissimilar from the special itself. Inside, on Netflix, Bo does talk about wanting to end the special, and not sure how or what he wants to do about it. In this takes outtakes as a way for him to keep creating, finding those little parts of the special that he wasn't able to put in. That keeps him busy, because as we all know, being stuck inside isn't necessarily over. The outtakes are also like an hour long. They're about as long as what you would expect from a typical stand-up special anyway. As I said in the last video, Bo extends Inside because of his want to finish it, and in this case, Outtakes also feels the same. It's instead a collection of everything that he wanted to show that wasn't fitting in the special itself, and would otherwise have made it very bloated. In this case, the outtakes serve to supplement the film itself. They don't exist purely as bonus features, the supplementary resources. They're both hand in hand, and for them to release a year apart, I think, shows how important they are to let Inside stand on its own, and then have the outtakes supplement what people have already seen. In this case, Bo can assume that his audience has also seen Inside, so he doesn't need to explain the contexts of the songs, but instead shows them being created. At its core, it is a sequel. It's something that builds upon something that was created a year ago, despite not even having any new footage, but instead expands upon the ideas and form in a way that, if anything, transcends the Netflix special itself. It is uniquely YouTube, in a way that no mainstream artist has really ever been able to tap into, and I think it's because Bo started here. It's where he created his stuff. It's where he perfected his form. And to see him return to YouTube and use YouTube to its advantage, it reminds us just how much this platform is important. I wonder if this will become a yearly tradition, where every year Bo Burnham releases some content and then, all of us just decide to start talking about it for a bit. And I hope that is the case. The way in which it concludes with a final cut file and showing us the process of the editing as Bo plays with the mouse, those are things you don't see in typical high-budget television. This is something that is unique to the platform of YouTube. Even if this isn't a yearly tradition, if Bo continues to release content, I will continue to watch it, and you can be damn sure I'm going to talk about it.